Hello there, Itro here. Today we're going to be having a look at attractiveness, but the negative side of it. So what actually contributes to the negativeness of attractiveness on an island? We're going to be having a look at instability, pollution, vulgarity, what causes them, and how you can counteract them. So the first one we'll have a quick look at is instability. And as we were just talking then, the instability went from 400 to 450. And instability is city incidents and wars on the islands. So as you can see here, we currently have illness on the island, which is contributing to 450. So there's the illness over here that is not being treated. One of these houses probably got ill, which is increasing the negative attractiveness up from 400 to 450. And this is going to be if you have riots ongoing and fires as well. This is all going to stack on top of each other and have a negative effect on the attractiveness. Next along, we'll have a look at pollution. We're going to have a look at what sort of buildings can actually contribute to pollution, how you can see before you place them down, and as a visual aspect. So we have a look at this beautiful economic state here of smog. If we have a look, we are at 903 pollution. Now if I click on this, we can see the majority is in the cab lines, heavy weapons factories and furnaces, and then we have the motor assembly. Even the oil extraction is going to have a negativeness on attractiveness. Even the chemical factories over here. However, I am getting a bonus because of a item in a trade union for the bootmakers, which is bringing it to a positive. Otherwise we'd be over 1,000 negative on this production island. Now if we have a look closer at the actual buildings, when you're actually placing one of the buildings down, like if we have a look at these steam motors here, if we have a look at this, as you can see, it has a negative 10 on attractiveness. So it's going to reduce the attractiveness as well as increasing the actual pollution. Now, if we actually have a visual aspect here, you can actually see the pollution buildings actually have a smog around them, and they will, when they're actually up and running, they'll actually be billowing out black smoke. As you can see over here, these buildings here aren't contributing to pollution, and they have a white smoke coming out of them. Even the ones that have a bit of grey or brown smoke coming out of them aren't contributing to actual pollution. It is the ones that are pumping out the black coal sort of smoke here. These are the ones that are going to be visually aspecting to actually be contributing to the pollution. Now, as you can see here, the power stations are doing a grey smoke. They aren't having a negative effect on attractiveness or pollution. If we have a look over here, leave on one of these islands over here. Here we go. Now, this here is the only negative attractiveness on the actual island, apart from the oil refinery here. The oil refinery is a bit of a interesting one. It doesn't actually have a visual smog over it. It is just if there is oil being extracted from an oil well, it's going to be negative on attractiveness. However, the steelworks, there is the visual representation. As you can see here, we have the production running, and if we pause it, the air clears up. Now, as you can see, when we're unpausing it, the actual attractiveness has gone to 0 now that we've paused it. And if we have a look at the pollution has gone as well. So if you pause one of the production lines, if it's not actually be utilized, you can actually get rid of the negative attractiveness and the actual pollution. Now, as you can see here, it is running. However, we're at full capacity on the actual steel beams. So even though it's not technically producing, because we still have it set as active, it is contributing to a negative attractiveness and increasing the pollution. Now, the pollution has a side effect. The pollution actually has a negative effect on the happiness on the island. So if we have a look at this, we got +1 on here. However, if we pause this, they've gone up to a +2 because we've paused the production on the actual steel beams. The air has cleared up, and now the pollution, we've gone to a +2 on the happiness. So the pollution is negative attractiveness, and it also has an effect on the happiness of your people. So there are a couple of ways you can visually understand the smog, the actual black smoke, and it can actually contribute to the actual happiness, and it will tell you in the tooltip if it is a negative on the attractiveness, it's going to be contributing to pollution. And the last one is vulgarity. The easiest way to understand vulgarity is anything that is ugly, loud, or smelly in regards to ruined buildings or animal production lines that have subsidiary productions is going to contribute to the negative attractiveness, which ruins are going to be negative on the attractiveness. We have the pig farms and the connected render works, soap factories, and slaughterhouses all going to be negative on attractiveness and contributing to vulgarity. And the same is going to be for the fish oil factories as well. So how can we try to circumvent these negativeness? So if you're looking at just pure production and negative, pollution and negative attractiveness, the first thing you could easily do would be to set up a separate island to actually make these negative attractiveness and pollution producing actual lines and actually import the goods through trade ships, or alternatively have it done through the global trade network from the Docklands DLC. If you want to keep the production on the same islands and try to actually negate some of these effects, you can do this with some of the trade union items. To show this in practice, as you can see, this island is just a population island. It has no production on it, and it has no pig farms or anything. So as you can see, we are at a 0 on vulgarity and pollution on this island, which if we have a look at the people's happiness, there are a +5 on the happiness because there is no pollution on the island. Now going back to the trade union items to actually reduce some of this. If we have a look at the vulgarity side first, now as you're saying, it is the pig farming and its subsidiaries and the fish oil. Ruins, you just have to keep on top of those, either by repairing them as soon as they come in, or keeping the population on an island below 200, so there are going to be no incidents on the island. However, if we have a look at fish oil first, as you can see here, fish oil. The main inputs for fish oil is going to be for the fried plantain. So we have two options you can utilize here. You can use the daring scuba diver to produce fish oil as a byproduct from pearl farming. So that gets rid of the actual input of the actual fish oil line. You just get it as extra. Alternatively, you can actually put the master confectioner in the fried plantain area, and he will use chalk or cocoa as a byproduct instead of the fish oil, and will produce chocolate as a extra good. So those are two ways you can actually get through the fish oil. Next, we'll have a look at the pigs and the render works and soap. For the pig production line, you could utilize a prunella in the soap factory line. She's going to reduce the attractiveness of the soap factory, and you're going to be inputting tallow instead of the wood, so you can get rid of the pigs. However, that isn't going to fix the problem with the slaughterhouse for the sausages. So she is very useful and very good, and will actually make the production line cheaper. The other way you can do this would be to actually use the slurries in the pig production line. That's going to affect the pig farms, render works, soap factories, and the slaughterhouses. And the epic is 75%. You have the slurry pit, the blue rare, which is 50, and the uncommon, which is 25. So stacking the epic with either of the other two, you're going to get rid of the negative attractiveness from the whole pig production line. Now there is one for the industrial side of things, which is the charcoal kilns. If you're using those, you can use the kiln keeper as well. She will actually get rid of the negative effect from the actual charcoal kilns. Now this isn't going to get rid of the pollution, but it will get rid of the negative attractiveness. And this is going to be exactly the same for any of the heavy industries from pollution. you can utilize items to actually get rid of some of the negativeness on the attractiveness, and you can get it down to being 0 on the attractiveness. However, anything that is producing pollution, if it's active as previously shown, is going to still contribute to pollution whether it's actually producing or not. So you can get rid of the negativeness, but you can't get rid of the pollution. The only way to do it is to turn it off or to move it to another island. Now, just be careful with the attractiveness levels on here. That you can be tricked, like this here, ironwork and foundries, plus 60% on negative, sorry, plus 60% on the attractiveness. Jump ahead of the game here. Now, if you have a negativeness on attractiveness, as you will with any of the oil works or iron foundry works, plusing it by 60% is going to push it further heavier into the actual negativeness. So if we have a look over here at the oil wells here, as we can see here, it is 36 on the negative attractiveness. We have a trade union here. We have the bechamel converter, which is -1 on attractiveness, plus 60 on that, and then -2 on the attractiveness. So we're at 36 before. If we take those out, we've gone back down to 20. So just be careful if it's a negative on the actual innate and you're multiplying it or increasing it by 1%, you're going to be increasing the negative attractiveness. You're not going to be counteracting it. The only way you're going to do that is with a negative reduction item. So you are able to reduce some of the negative effects on the attractiveness on the ironwork and foundries, which includes the oil refineries as well, with this book here, reducing it by 80%. And there are 3 gates which you can use, which the rare is +2 on attractiveness, the common or uncommon is +1, and the rare is +3. However, for the oil refinery, which was at a -20 on the attractiveness, even with the best items in game, you're still going to be at a -3. And even if you use the 4th slot item from the palace to unlock that and put in the uncommon, you're going to only get it down to -2 on the attractiveness. So if you are going to have oil being extracted from an island, you're not going to be able to get rid of all the negative attractiveness. So you can import the oil, or you can start importing gas and start using the gas for power stations. So you can negate some of it, but you're not going to be able to get rid of all of it. Now, as I say, you can get rid of the attractiveness, but unfortunately, going back, you cannot get rid of the pollution from an island. There is nothing in-game that will get rid of pollution. It is the 1800s, remember. We have no carbon filters or anything. If it is turned on, it is going to be pumping out the black smoke. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, I do appreciate any likes on the video and any subscriptions to the channels, and comment down below if there's any video you'd like me to cover off next. Stay safe and I'll catch you on the next one.